what if there was a single blueprint for all of Christian belief? Well, for centuries, people have pointed to this one incredibly powerful letter. And today, we're going to break down that blueprint, the book of Romans.
I mean, just think about that for a second. One single text, the foundation for an entire global faith? That's a huge claim. Where would you even start looking for a document like that?
Well, it turns out, for almost 2,000 years, some of the biggest thinkers in history, we're talking Augustine, Martin Luther, you name it, they've all pointed to the exact same place, a single letter. And this letter was written by the Apostle Paul to this tiny, brand new group of believers right there in the heart of the Roman Empire. So let's dive in and unpack this thing. We're going to see how Paul, in this one letter, just systematically takes on some of the biggest questions you can imagine. Questions like, what even is faith? What does it mean to be righteous? And what's the deal with grace?
Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. Paul doesn't start with a happy solution. No, he starts with a problem, and not just any problem. He describes a universal problem, one he says affects every single one of us, no matter who you are or where you're from.
His basic starting point is this: we're all in the same boat. He describes this condition of being fallen, feeling fundamentally disconnected from where we're supposed to be. And because of that, we need something way beyond ourselves. He calls that something God's grace. And here's the real kicker, the major consequence of this condition. It's not just that we need grace. It's that we're completely, totally unable to earn our way back to being right with God. Paul is crystal clear on this. No amount of good deeds, no amount of following the rules can fix this disconnect. All right, so if we can't fix the problem ourselves, then what's the answer? This is where Paul flips the script and introduces the divine solution. And trust me, it's a radical idea because it takes our performance completely out of the picture. And this right here, this is the absolute heart of his entire argument. Salvation isn't a paycheck you earn for good work. It's a gift, a free gift. Paul just keeps hammering this point home. It's offered freely by God, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what we do or how well we follow the rules. This brings us to a really important word: justification. Now, this is kind of like a legal term. It doesn't mean you've suddenly become perfect overnight, not at all. It means you've been declared righteous in God's eyes. It's like your official status has been changed. So what this sets up are two totally different ways of thinking about this. You've got path number one, trying to earn your way there through your own actions and merits. Then you've got path number two, simply receiving righteousness through faith in God's grace. And Paul's whole point is that really only that second path works. It's a huge shift, right? From doing to trusting. And to show that this isn't some crazy new idea he just came up with, Paul actually reaches way back in history. He points to Abraham, this huge figure in the Old Testament, and he says, look, Abraham was considered righteous not because of what he did, but because he simply trusted God's promises. It's all about faith. Okay, so what happens after someone receives this gift? What's next? Well, Paul says the implications are massive. It's not just about changing your status before God. It's about getting a whole new identity and becoming part of a brand new community. And you have to understand, at the time, this was a revolutionary idea. Paul explains that this gift of grace just completely shatters all the old divisions. He talks about a new covenant where both Jews and non-Jews or Gentiles are all brought together. They become one single, unified family. So you can kind of see the whole path laid out here. It all starts with that one person being justified by faith. That act brings them into this new community, this new family. And from there, it kicks off a lifelong journey of spiritual transformation, all happening together. Then, near the end of the letter, Paul gets super practical. He basically says, okay, this is great theology, but it can't just be an idea in your head. It has to actually change how you live your life every single day. So what does that look like? If you receive this incredible free gift, what's the natural result? Well, Paul says it should lead to a life that's just overflowing with love, a real commitment to keeping everyone unified, serving other people, and living a life of holiness. It all just flows from that new identity. And that really leaves us with the big question of the entire letter. It's the question Paul wants every single person to wrestle with. If your value, your standing, isn't based on how well you perform, but on a gift you've been given, how does that radically change absolutely everything about the way you live?